KCHW is online at kchw.org. Listen to the live stream, find out about station events, memberships, local weather, and volunteering. You're listening to KCHW 102.7.
It is KCHW Scott Gene Morning Show. Thanks for being with us this morning. 8:22. We're all set up. And if you log on to kchw.org and the listen page, we've got right on the front of it, it's going to automatically start playing. It's our video feed. You can also catch us on our YouTube channel, which is KCHW space tube. And you can watch live. And the reason why you want to do that is because we have some very, very cool artwork in the studio. With us right now, what's going on, Gene? You're like flailing over there. Is everything okay?
Oh, we were just, there was a headphone issue, and you know, Dave took care of it.
Dave took care of it. All right, back.
I'm an expert on headphones.
All right. I want to introduce back in the studios, I think it's his third visit. It's Mr. Dave Anderson, and you are playing the role of Tim Nilsson today, correct?
Yes, I am. From Trails End Gallery. Tim had to leave town for a couple hours, and so he put me in charge of the artist, I guess.
So now, how many visits, Tim brought you to town, how many visits have you had to Chewelah now?
Well, to the station 3 times.
But to the city?
100.
Well, lost count, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, we're like a magnet for artists, so I'm just thinking sooner or later you might as well just move here.
Well, I keep announcing my mayoral candidacy, but I have to sell a house in Portland before I can move up here. So,
ooh,
yeah.
All right.
I'm working on it.
We've had some issues. I don't know if I'd vote for you.
Yeah, win or lose, I still am going to run. You know, I actually have a GoFundMe site for that too. It's DavidAndersonFruitManDo.com.
Well, be careful because me and Gene kind of have a crush on Dorothy, so we're pretty fond of our mayor.
Well, I
so
don't even know the competition.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay. All right. We'll let you slide on that. All right. So we have our artist walk tonight. Tonight it starts at 5:30, and several. Let's see, we got 6 locations in town. But before we get there, let's talk to our guests. They are at the Trails End Gallery tonight. Their show was launched last night at the Quartzsite Brewery. Now, Dave, you were the host of that, and they are your friends. You mentioned something about they've taken classes from you.
Yes.
So will you go ahead and kind of like take this part of the interview and introduce them and talk about what happened last night at the brewery?
Okay. That was a lot of things. I should have taken a list.
So talk to them.
Okay. So I first met Stan and Tricia at, I was volunteering time at a tree farm. We were in a muddy parking lot, and they drove in and needed to buy a Christmas tree. And so I helped them, and we started talking, and we had all of these things in common. Found out that they had recently moved from L.A. to the Portland area, and that they had a design firm in L.A. called Evenson Design Group. And but they were kind of moving away from that and wanting to do something different, which was emphasize their fine art aspects of their lives. So they moved to Portland to kind of, in a way, reinvent themselves. And they thought, this guy isn't just a tree farm worker. I said, no, I'm a professor at Clackamas Community College down the road. Well, what do you teach? Painting and drawing. It's like, oh my goodness, that is perfect. So we started kind of hanging out, and we became really good friends. They're my best friends.
Aww.
And so
Did you guys say that too?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
Absolutely.
Good answer.
And so they started taking some painting classes at Clackamas Community College, and I'd like to give thanks to them for allowing me a couple of days off to come up here with them.
Nice.
Yeah. And
so these guys are so important that you're their handler.
Yeah.
well,
You have no idea.
Bodyguard?
I got to say that I'm honored that they even hang out with me. But they, like I said, they're world-class graphic designers, and they've done everything from the Patriots logos and uniforms to the Rose Festival parade to all sorts of international corporations. In fact, you can go into the store today and see Mama Chia drinks, which Tricia designed that label. And also, Stan has done 150 album covers, which I know you guys are going to, and he's in the Rock and Roll Album Hall of Fame.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Including Frampton Comes Alive,
Holy
George
smoke.
Harrison.
Oh, wow. You guys going to give me coronary. Settle down.
Well, when you start talking to these guys about what they've done, you'll be like, no, what, not what.
Scott's getting all kinds of
pretty
excited.
impressive. And so they have so accomplished in their design careers, and then just were interested in transitioning into the fine arts. And so I've been able to watch them kind of develop and change and move, and I've been one of those irritating. I liken myself to a piece of sand in the gut of an oyster that irritates you until you coat it with a really beautiful surface, and it becomes a pearl. Isn't that beautiful?
That is
Yes,
so beautiful.
Actually, it is.
Okay, so that's Stan and Tricia.
Are we the oyster shell or are we the pearl?
I think you're the pearl. And somewhere along the line, the
You're the
analogy kind
oyster
of
that
loses
is creating the pearl out of a grain of sand.
We are
Yeah,
the
the-
rare black pearls.
out of
you
the
know?
irritant.
Wow, Dave, you're a word artist, too.
Thank you, Scott.
Take that as a compliment coming from me, right? All right. So tonight we have Stan and Tricia Evenson at the Trails End Gallery, Margot Setti at Chovino. We've got Bonnie Kazir at Gather, Fired Up Pizza, Brad Walker. Hello Gorgeous Salon is Sarah Skates, and then at Wildflower is Chris Mack and Joni Christian. Now everything, of course, is on Main Street. And actually, it's grown so much it's both sides. Next month they get to add in the radio station to the list because we're going to join too.
Right
Fantastic.
on.
Good for you.
Yeah, we're going to probably go back and forth where we have a musician and then maybe somebody that's because we have a Motown show and he really wants somebody to come paint to his music. So we thought that'd be kind of a cool thing to do too, and
Cool.
have it on camera while it's going on, and people could come in and check it out. So we want to join that too. But that's all happening tonight. Of course, the Trails End Gallery on 395 at the corner though with Main Street. So all those places to walk to tonight will be absolutely fabulous, and the weather's a little better, so that's great. So let's go back to talking to the Evensons. I want to know how you guys, because you're a couple, right?
We are.
And you're doing art together. How did you meet and kind of set us up that how you came into this in your life?
I'm going to hand it over to you. Well, actually, I've had my business since 1976.
Okay.
And so, just so happened I've had a lot of employees over the years. And it happened to be in 1989. I was really busy working on a project, and I asked my senior designer to say, can you check out this portfolio? I don't have time. And he comes back with me, lays a portfolio on my desk. He says, I think you need to see this person. And I just said, okay. And I flipped through it really quickly, and wow, this is impressive. And I go out, and there's Tricia.
And then you went, this is impressive?
Yeah, twice. The
She's
portfolio-
really impressive.
Yeah, you're really amazing, but your portfolio's not bad either.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. So just
Wow. So it was kind of like an attraction at first sight
Yeah.
then. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but we were so professional for 2 years. We would go to meetings together. We were the unbelievable yin-yang team to people just got turned on by our energy together, and we were just doing rock stars with selling design and really getting our clients inspired. And after 2 years, we just fell in love after just having this great friendship. And so,
Wow, what a perfect way to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
And
great.
you guys, I can almost you guys are so happy I can feel your energy. So, wow. and what a cool thing to both have a love of art and be able to share that. Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also went to the same school for Art Center College of Design, although we're 10 years apart. So Stan attended in Los Angeles, and they moved their campus to Pasadena, California. So we have this background. We have actually a few stories about some interesting crossover of our paths way before we ever met. So we both attended the same college, and then working in the design field for so many years, and then getting into a relationship and working together side by side and co-parenting with 3 kids,
Oh, wow.
and building a life together. And now we're both fine art painters.
So I know a question people are going to want to ask Stan is, especially artists, because the struggling artist thing. How do you become a world-class graphic designer where you're doing stuff for the NFL? I mean, how does that? How do you come into that?
I consider myself the luckiest guy on the planet. Seriously, I didn't know that I could make a career in art. I loved painting. I had a rock star teacher in junior and high school, Ralph Goings. He's passed away, but you could look him up, and he's an ultra surrealist that was just phenomenal. Went big time the next year after I had him in high school as a junior. And then I lucked out by going to a college, and then someone had an art center college catalog out. I actually was an athlete, so I had scholarships to run track and play basketball and I had to tell my father, I don't want to do that. I want to go to this art school. And he's only thinking he's only seeing the starving artist and calling his dad up, said, Dad, I need some money. And he saw that. So he wasn't very encouraging. But Art Center is the ultimate school to go to, and really trains you to be a designer. So many different levels. They have transportation design, environmental design, packaging design. So I loved one of my instructors was Roland Young, and he was also the creative director at A&M Records. And he dug me so much that he hired me out of school, and at age 23 to start working on album covers. And that's
For rock bands. Wow.
Rock bands, I know, and jazz. And so here's a 12 by 12 format that you can just imagine that it's a designer's dream, and I would get to do that and advertising and meet some of these people. And so, but there was probably, I would say, 9 months that I just said, you know what, I don't like working for the man. It's not my boss, Roland Young, but I just didn't like doing that. So I went on my own, kind of naive, and went out at 24 years old and started doing rock and roll stuff for a long time until that industry kind of dropped. And I then got into the idea of that's got to be other industries out there. And
recreate yourself again, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's how it kind of evolved.
I'd like to say something here. I hear both of these people say, oh, we're so lucky and we're just this and that. But I've got to say, there was a lot of hard work behind this, and also just very intuitive people with great skill, but hard work. And I think the lesson that we'd all agree on is, like, if you work hard, good things happen, and it's not really luck, Stan. You guys are so talented.
Luck happens somehow.
Well, maybe.
To me, I think what I'm seeing is there was a lot of personal drive behind this, and a lot of personal inspiration that led you to go, this is cool, but there's something different out there. There's a different path. And so you just worked towards finding your own path, and then you ended up making an amazing, career out of it. Yeah. And how many people are fortunate enough to do that?
I know.
Yeah. It's like us, Gene. We're not that talented, but we get to do a morning show.
If we only could get paid for it. These guys made money off it, Scott.
Yeah, well, so I'm curious, do you guys ever paint together?
We do, as a matter of fact.
Do you paint on the same, I'm not talking about the same time. Do you guys ever share work on a painting? Because I just think that'd be really unique.
Well, it's funny you'd bring that up. Recently we had an experience. We had some friends visit. Surprise visit, and we were hanging out and showing them our art studio, and one of the women said, I'm so inspired, I just feel like I want to paint. And we said, well, let's do that. So we put up 2 canvases in the studio, and there were 6 of us, and we just hung out for the afternoon, all collaborating and painting on moving back and forth. To answer your question, we don't usually paint together. In fact, we've never painted on the same painted, although sometimes we'll come over and say, oh, let me just do a brushstroke here or a brushstroke there. But generally
because I would think that'd be something that'd be really rare. Is
it's
two
very
people to
rare.
Paint on one painting.
It's very rare. Yeah.
But I thought maybe since you're a couple that
particular
happens.
time was a lot of fun. So I don't know if that's something we're going to continue to do in the future, but it was a lot of fun. And the paintings, those collaborative paintings, turned out fabulous. They now live in homes in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I would say Stan mentioned yin and yang, and sometimes it is yin and sometimes it's yang, but they're both, they have such different interests and divergent ways of thinking at times that as a design team they fit together perfectly. But in your own personal art, their images, the way they paint is kind of moved apart. And so that's what you're going to be able to see at the show tonight, that they work together and their work is synergistic and everything's happening, but the paintings themselves have moved away from being from the same person.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, as a brand designer all these years, we're solving other people's problems. And we got to the point where we got burned out. It's just like, well, we don't want to solve people's problems, even though it kind of came easy for us after a while. We just said, what's next for us? And it was painting, and kind of to express ourselves individually that way. So it's been really exciting.
Have you retired then from the graphic arts business, or?
We have said no more often than not these days, and it feels good. And we're not refusing if it's the right amount of money and the right people and the right project. We'll do it.
Yeah,
But,
but far and few between. We're very, very selective on projects we might work
Well, that's
on.
got to be awesome to be at a point in your life too where you can pick and choose what
It
you're
is.
doing.
It's
because-
actually wonderful. It's very liberating to be able to have someone say, "I've got this fabulous." We had this opportunity to design a brand for a restaurant in Santa Barbara, California, and that is one of our favorite things to do, is a restaurant or a wine label or something like that. And it was a joyful moment to say, "No, thank you."
Wow.
Just
All
turn
right.
it down, because we'd rather paint and live our life and enjoy time. But then occasionally something comes along and we say yes to it, and so then we jump in and do that. We have one client in particular who we've been working for over 25 years, so we keep that project in house, and we keep our hand in the pot of design, but mostly it's on the canvas.
Excellent. All right. Well, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. And I love it when people are successful and they go, "I feel so lucky and I'm so appreciative," and all that. kind
Oh,
of
absolutely.
Stuff,
We have so much gratitude for
Yeah.
where our paths have been. We've had some challenging times in the past, and our journey to get up into the Pacific Northwest wasn't an easy one, but we were committed. Once we made the decision, we were on a mission to change our life. We sold half of what we owned. We closed our agency down in Los Angeles, just consolidated into a very small home office, and built an art studio, and that's what we're doing, and it's been a joyous ride since.
All right. Well, let's take a look at some of that beautiful art. And as I always say when we do this on the first Thursday Art Walk, web cameras do not do it justice. Hit the streets tonight. You have brought some fabulous art in, Mr. Anderson. Show us some of this work from the Evensons. And when he's showing it, you guys just feel free to comment.
Okay.
Well, I'll try to ask you questions, but you can tell us about each painting he puts up. We're going to flip that over on the webcam. This one's fabulous, and each piece is very kind of different. So explain this one to us.
this is the olive bomber.
I love it. From the moment I saw it, I love it.
Well, I am in love with vintage. So
Nice, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
You're a good fan of white, Dave.
So one of our title of our show that's at Trails End is Vanishing Acts, and we can elaborate a little bit more on that, why it's called that. But one of the things that is vanishing is things that I loved when I was growing up: tin toys, my mom's Jello mold, and so these things are just, I've just put them together, and all of a sudden, I think this thing should be bombing the Jello mold. So why not throw olive bombs in there? And so it just kind of evolved, and
It's very fun.
very fun. And,
I love it.
And the texture in the background was really fun to create, and a lot of glazes on this. So are you moving to the next one? Yeah.
And the rocket racer's pretty cool. I like that.
Well, that one just makes me, it does make me feel like I'm going back in time to the kind of things that I remember as a kid, because we all remember Grandma's, olive Jello molds.
Yeah.
We all do. And I remember thinking, that is the weirdest thing.
Totally weird.
Yeah.
Right? But that's where I got my love for green olives. I can sit and eat half a jar now.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so great.
But, and then I remember the tin toys.
And green Jello in general,
Right.
All right, so I want to know who painted this next one.
I did these first two.
I was thinking it was you, but then I thought I might have been surprised. So yeah.
Well, this was actually in Dave's class, that I was taking his class, and there was an assignment for propaganda. And since I've been in advertising design for all my life, I've been designing a lot of these packages, and I've never designed cigarette packaging when I wouldn't refuse it. But, but quite frankly, there's a seduction. It almost looks like candy. And this is called I Want You. And how seductive it is for something that's just so bad for you that, so I painted these seductive lips juxtaposed with Lucky Strike cigarettes, and
Which happened to be my parents' brand of choice in their younger years.
You know, there are a few paintings I've seen that I want to go up and touch or lick, and like the lips on this painting are just tasty. I mean,
They
you
are-
just want to touch them.
Right? They're full and voluptuous. And
So if tonight you see him kissing this painting, just ignore it.
It wouldn't be the first time he'd kissed a
Dave,
painting.
Dave's actually
Or
All
licked
right.
one.
Well, I
That
can
is-
taste color.
That is fabulous, you guys. Amazing work. I was wondering if you're going to have a story that was like rock album inspired or something.
not really, but I have done covers that I try to pull out my vintage tools and show things, and not every good thing gets accepted, but it's a love that I have.
I love the vintage stuff, and we have a photographer in town who does that with filters. You know, he'll go shoot an old car, and then he puts and that old vintage feel. He's got one of a guy standing up against a building smoking a cigarette that he snapped, and it's done in the modern times. But then he adds this filter to it, and all of a sudden this picture takes you back to 1950, like you're painting. Yeah.
Thank you. And one of the paintings that you'll see at the gallery is a 4x6 foot painting of a 1957 Buick Special. And it's a real cropped-in version with a hubcap that is actually reflecting me in the hubcap. So that's, again, I get turned on by vintage.
All right. This next one we're pulling up, I feel soft and warm. I'm going to guess it's Tricia.
Yeah. What was your
I
first
didn't mean that in any bad way either.
No, I'll take it. I'll
Okay.
take it. That's
Okay.
good. No, I definitely my work is a very, very different flavor. Most of my work is abstract landscape. This is one of my earlier pieces, and we've only been painting for about 7 years, and I've been really obsessed with horizon lines and wide open spaces. So you'll see in the show there's a lot of that. There's also a recent series that I've done that's on endangered species, which evolved actually came out of that direction came out of a class taken at Clackamas with Dave. But most of my work is abstract landscape, and I really don't paint with anything in mind. I just start painting and see what kind of conversation the canvas and I can have together, and I move things around, and I use a lot of water in my process. It's all acrylic, and so this is a much more subdued piece, but it's actually one that I really like. It's warm. What did you say? Warm and glowy, whatever.
Yeah. Soft. Warm and soft.
Okay, we'll take
Yeah.
that.
this one makes me feel like I want to go sit on a beach in Australia.
Fantastic. Why not?
I'm just like, that's what I feel like. I just want to go sit on a beach in Australia.
Well, a lot of my paintings, when you see the show, you may have that feeling of serenity, of calmness.
And that's probably that's where I was trying to, but I came up with soft.
Yeah, it's
Idiot.
it's something that's important for me because in this chaotic world that we live in and all things going on, I love to sit on a beach or on a mountaintop and just look at an expansive view, and that just calms me and brings me a lot of peace. And so a lot of my paintings have that. And there's also an environmental thread that runs through all of my work. Both Stan and I are very environmentally conscious. We've been, as designers, we came to a point in a sort of an aha moment where we realized what we were doing was encouraging people to print more and lots of materials and inks and so forth. And so we took on a whole sustainability view in our design practice, and we still live that, So a lot of and we have in our theme, Vanishing Acts for the show, it's also about the environment and
Water resource.
and animals that are under the threat of extinction, and water is a big theme. So
Have you ever rejected a client because you just thought that their activities were just too distasteful for the planet? And you don't have to name them. I'm just saying, have you ever?
No, but there are some industries that we won't speak online, but there's some industries that we have felt that if that they did come, we would probably just say no for moral and ethical and personal reasons. So yes, we never had to do that, but
I've had the same kind of like here at the radio station
Yeah.
with marijuana stores wanting to advertise, and they're doing it in Spokane. But the problem is it's still federally illegal, and we're federally licensed. So if you go to a radio attorney, they're going to say you're crazy. Don't
Right.
do that. You're really hanging yourself out there. And then it was put at me, and I am not overly sensitive, a teetotaler, anything like that, where my personal views come into it. But when I sit back and look at it, it's the same kind of thing. I'm going, okay, I wouldn't let Jack Daniels sponsor our programming, okay? And it's illegal to advertise hard liquor on the radio.
Right.
So why would I do marijuana?
Right, yeah.
No matter what my personal views are or choices or anything like that, I just don't think it's a good representative. And then being in a small community where we have sponsors and members that support us from all walks of life, and some of them could find that offensive.
Right.
So I just
Sure.
I think the safe answer is always no. No thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Exactly.
that I might be glad they're out there, but at the same time I don't think it's probably the proper place. So.
But I think we had an opportunity sometimes to kind of direct our clients to say, well, maybe this is a better recycled paper rather than this one that's taking out more trees.
Have some influence, right?
Have some influence. So that's where we kind of had a little bit of using our influence on them to direct them into more sustainable materials.
Did he put your painting upside down or something?
No, we're just trying to adjust the lighting a little bit.
Okay.
And that's let's see.
All right, so tell us
Okay.
about
That's
your
good.
your next one. It's got similar textures but different colors than kind of the other one.
It does, but this one is this is even more abstract. I think this is more sort of the landscape of my imagination and not based in anything that's real necessarily. So this one just evolved. It's a lot of experimentation, and as I said, when I start a painting, and these two that we brought in today are actually my smallest pieces. Most of them are twice this size.
Wow.
So you'll
and these are big. These are as big as or bigger than a lot of paintings that people brought in before. So I want to
Okay.
see. Do you have some big ones at Tim's?
Yep.
Okay.
There's another one that's like his Buick that's 4x6 feet.
Nice.
Can I put this in front of the camera? Do you think it'll show?
I think it will.
Okay, so this particular painting is
All right, Dave's going to take a phone shot from the camera.
4x6 feet.
Go the other way. There you
There
go.
you go.
Good. Oh wow. And it's that. Is that a raven?
It's a raven. Yes.
And I gotta. Oh, you can't hear me.
I don't think we're going to pick you up.
Yeah.
I gotta say that when you come to the show, some of these animal paintings are absolutely mind blowing. The amount of texture and brush strokes in them. So I'll put this back up. Maybe you can see it a little better.
All right.
And we brought these two over because they were representative of where I started on the journey of painting and where it's taking me. But this last series of endangered species, this is the first time I'm working with something that's representational. Everything else has been very abstracted, and I've found a love for getting in there and being very detailed in the painting. So this is where I'm able to bring a lot of my designer skills into this as well. I mean, it's not necessarily designed, but I'm a very detail-oriented person. So the part of the journey of doing abstract landscape, it was about letting go of what I think and know and skill and talent and getting out of my head and moving in from my heart and being more spontaneous with my art. And same with Stan. We had a teacher that really inspired us to sort of let go of what we know and come from this beginner's mind and very, experimental place. And the art has really taken us into this beautiful directions. This is the shot. I don't know if you can see this. That
Let me go back
yeah,
to
go
it?
back to Dave there. So that's actually a photograph of me painting on
Awesome.
the raven.
Oh, wow.
So you can get a sense of the scale of this.
That's a piece of art in itself.
Right.
The picture is. Yeah. Wow.
So that was actually painted in at Clackamas. The way we set up the gallery was we painted in the gallery, so it was a hung show ready to go once we were done. And these two paintings that are in the show, the one that Stan and I did and the one I did, 4x6, are we did them in like 3.5 days. I mean, we had to really hustle to get these done, and they both turned out exceptionally well.
Is that one of your favorite pictures?
Well,
and that's a very cool picture.
I do like that picture, and the painting itself is meaningful to me because it moved me into a different direction, and I know that this is sort of the like a turning point into, and I'm curious to see for myself where that's going to lead, what's going to lead to
How's
next.
it going to change your art?
Yeah, how it's going to change my art. So there's five images of the animal series. And what do we got there? Oh, that's a great shot. Okay, so that's a shot of Stan and I working on his hubcap of his car. Do you want to say anything about that, Stan?
Yeah, this was a 4x6 painting too, and I love, again, vintage, and so I had taken this photograph of this 57 Buick, and
Thanks, Dave.
And Dave took that picture, and you were asking about working together. We had a time limit, so it was like 3.5 days to crank out this painting. And Dave is really good about forcing you to really be efficient with your time and your materials. And so it's just like we were cranking to get this out. And so we made it.
This class lasted 2.5 weeks, only Monday through Thursday. So it wasn't a lot of time. I think we did like 13 paintings. And these large 4x6 paintings were done in the last 3 days. And it was very stressful, but it was designed to kind of be that way a little bit, to challenge all the students who were in that class to like, no, this has got to be done, because we finished painting them in the main gallery at Clackamas Community College, and we were having a show that summer of these paintings, so they had to be done.
Get it done now.
Yeah, exactly.
So have you guys ever had somebody come to like one of your art shows and buy a piece of art from each of you?
This is the first time we've had a show together.
Oh.
First time.
Okay.
And we did have a show that I was up for the first 6 weeks, and then she followed the next 6 weeks. But it was really interesting. We were in Portland one day, and we were having lunch at another restaurant, and my work was hanging at a place called Bread and Ink Cafe. And all of a sudden, the owner gets a hold of me, said, "Your largest piece just sold." And it sold for $1,200, and it's just like, wow, really? And they don't take a commission, which blows my mind. They deserved it. They don't take it. They just want to show artists off and have people enjoy it.
And support them.
And then he said, tomorrow's Mother's Day, and then you have to take your art down after Mother's Day. Do you have another piece to replace this? And I said, no. I said, this is all I've got. I said, can we just squish the paintings together? And I did, but it was great to sell a painting, and I don't know if you sold a painting at that show or not, but she sold a lot more.
No, I did.
Than
I sold a couple paintings out of my show. Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
All right. So your first show together right here in the big city of Chewelah, Washington.
Yes.
So I want you to drop me a text if somebody comes in tonight and buys a piece of your art and a piece of her art from the same person. I'm just curious.
Oh, that
you
would
know?
from the same
From the same person. That's
I
what I was
see.
getting. Like, if
I
somebody's
see.
came in and you guys were at a show and they went, "Oh man, these two beautiful artists are a couple. I'm going to buy a piece from both of them."
That would be
just 'cause-
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be the ultimate, I think.
Okay.
That would be really
Okay.
great.
And that'd
you
probably
know?
be cheating if I was outside before they went in here and handed them a bunch of cash and said, will you do this for me?
It's gonna make my wife really happy.
Just don't tell Scott.
Yeah.
All right. Have we missed anything, you guys, that you'd like to share before tonight's show?
You got something, Jay?
Well, I have something, kind of my end words, but I just wanted to thank these guys for the work they put into this show, because we knew almost a year ago that you'd be showing, but it's like getting the work ready, and a lot of these pieces, as you saw, were highly detailed and a lot of work put into them, so I wanted to thank them for that. Also,
They've traveled a long ways to bring it to Chewelah and show it to us.
yeah,
Yes.
and also thank Tim Nilsson too, who came to town a few years ago and has kind of stirred things up with these exhibitions, and he loves all the local artists, but he also wants to bring in people from outside just for a different voice.
Yep.
And so hats off to Tim for doing that.
And he's got more and more businesses approaching him saying, "Hey, we want to be part of this art walk. This
That's
is cool."
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
great.
And last night at the artist talk that we had, a gentleman came up, and you named him off. He's an artist, Brad. who's
Okay.
going to be showing, and he's so excited. He was thrilled that both Tricia and I were Art Center graduates where he went to. So he says, "There's never Art Center graduates." You know, he kept on shaking my hand. I said, "That's okay. You can let go of my hand now."
One last thing I wanted to say is a big thanks to Dave, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And as he mentioned, we just had a love at first sight relationship with this man, and we've been best friends, and we hang out all the time, and we share information and exchange ideas and art and design and life in general. And we would not be here if it wasn't for him, and we're really grateful for his friendship and for his mentorship and really making this happen, really.
All right. Yeah, even though the things he's done to me, he's a pretty cool guy.
I know.
Thank you, Scott. I'll make it up to you, Matt. When I sell that $17,000 painting.
I'll be waiting, buddy. I'm going to follow your website.
So you're going to be waiting for a long time.
All right, tonight on the streets of Chewelah, it is our first Thursday art walk at Wildflower. Chris Mack, Joni Christian, Hello Gorgeous Salon. We've got Sarah Skates, Fired Up Pizza, Brad Walker, who we just mentioned, Gather, Bonnie Kazir. At Chavino, it's Margot Setti. And then the fine folks in our studio today, Stan and Tricia Evenson at the Trails and Gallery right there at the corner of
Thank you.
395 and Main Street. Check out their art tonight. They have traveled a long way. Come out and see them. It starts at 5:30, runs till 8, correct?
I believe that's right.
All right.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Thank you guys
Gene.
for coming in.
Yeah.
It's so nice to meet you. I
too.
love your art, and
Right.
we'll see you on the streets
Can,
of
can
Chewelah
I
tonight.
say one last thing?
Yes, Dave.
Okay. I forgot to say this. You guys.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Darn it. It's just like this is such a bright spot in my trips when I come up and get to hang
Thank
out
you.
with you guys and listen to your radio show. It's like we appreciate it. I know there are many listeners out there that do the same that probably never write in or tell you that, but it's like you guys are doing cool things.
And we're cutting edge for Chewelah. We actually, the whole YouTube thing and throwing the broadcasting up there and kind of stuff. There's
Yeah.
a lot of stations that aren't even doing that stuff, and I just kind of figure it's there. Why not?
Right on.
You get it out there as much as you can.
Yeah.
And share it with the people.
Yes.
Amen.
All right,
And
there
it
you
is
go.
fun.
God bless art.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, it's KCHW 102.7. It's Northern Lights Public Radio. Me and Gene will be back with a quick community calendar. Stay with us. Thanks to our guests, and into the music with Watts.